Hello, my best students. Today's episode is different. It's powerful because we're diving deep into the mind of a man who's reshaping the world with wild ideas, bold moves, and impossible dreams. Yes, we're talking about Elon Musk. From electric cars to rockets, from controversy to courage, his journey is not just a tech story. It's a lesson in risk, obsession, and fearless creation. And if you stay with me until the end, you'll walk away with something more than English. You'll leave with the mindset of a future builder. So, get ready. Let's flow into the world of Elon Musk, where boldness isn't optional. It's everything. Part 1. The dreamer who refused to wait. Before Elon Musk became one of the most talked about people on the planet, he was just a curious boy with big questions and even bigger dreams. He grew up in South Africa, not in Silicon Valley, not in a family full of tech billionaires, but far from the world of startups and space rockets. Even as a child, Elon felt like the world was moving too slow. He read books, hundreds of them. He didn't just read for fun. He read to understand how things worked, how the world worked, and more importantly, how it could work better. At school, Elon was quiet, not very social, often bullied. But in his mind, he wasn't stuck in the playground. He was in space. He was building electric cars. He was trying to save the world from climate change. And this is the first thing to know about Elon. He always thought 10 steps ahead. While others were focused on today, he was already living in tomorrow. He moved to the US in his 20s. He believed America was the land where big things happened, where crazy dreams had a chance, where someone like him could make something that mattered. He started small. His first company was called Zip2. It helped newspapers go online, back when most people thought the internet was just a trend. He sold it for over $300 million. Most people would retire right there, buy a big house, take it easy. But Elon didn't care about easy. He cared about the future. He asked himself, what can I build that actually makes a difference in the world? So he risked nearly all of his money. He put it into two very dangerous bets. Tesla, an electric car company, when no one believed electric cars could work, and SpaceX, a private rocket company, when everyone laughed at the idea. Think about that. He had the money to relax, but he chose to bet it all on ideas that could easily fail. That's not normal. That's not safe. That's not easy. But that's boldness, and this is the core of Elon's story. He doesn't wait for permission. He doesn't wait for the world to be ready. He moves forward, even when everyone says you can't. And guess what? He didn't win right away. SpaceX failed its first 3 launches. The rockets exploded or didn't make it. Money was running out. The world was laughing. The media called him crazy. But he didn't quit. He pushed again. The 4th launch worked, and suddenly, the dream of private space travel became real. It was the same with Tesla. People said electric cars were slow, boring, and impossible to scale. Even car experts said, this will never work. Elon didn't care. He kept going. He slept in the factory. He pushed his team. He faced crisis after crisis. At one point, Tesla was weeks away from bankruptcy. But then, they delivered the Model S, a car that changed the industry forever. Today, almost every car company in the world is building electric vehicles. Why? Because Elon dared to go first. And this is why his story matters, not just for tech fans, but for all of us learning English, building dreams, or trying to grow. It shows that bold action beats safe ideas. That failure is part of the path. That if you believe in something deeply, wildly, you have to be ready to fight for it. In the next part of this podcast, we'll dive deeper into the wild world of SpaceX and how Elon Musk plans to take humans to Mars. But for now, remember this: the future doesn't belong to those who wait. It belongs to those who start, even when the world says you're crazy. And Elon Musk? He didn't wait. He dared. And that's where his story really begins. Part 2: Rockets, Failure, and the Mission to Mars. After selling his first companies, Elon Musk could have lived the rest of his life in comfort. But that's not what he wanted. He wasn't interested in just making money. He wanted to make history. So he turned his eyes to the stars. At the time, space exploration was something only governments did. NASA was the leader, and even they were slowing down. There hadn't been a moon mission for decades. No one was seriously planning to go to Mars. But Elon, he saw something different. He believed space needed a restart, a fresh vision, and he had an idea. What if a private company could build rockets? What if ordinary people, not just astronauts, could go to space? That's how SpaceX was born. He invested millions of his own money. People said it was a fantasy. Rocket science is hard, dangerous, expensive. But Elon had a plan. He wanted to build reusable rockets, rockets that didn't get thrown away after one flight. This would reduce costs and make space travel more sustainable. Sounds smart, right? But in the beginning, it was a disaster. The first 3 Falcon 1 launches all failed. Explosions, technical issues, setbacks that could break anyone's spirit. People laughed. Experts rolled their eyes. The media mocked him. Even Elon admitted, after the 3rd failure, that if the 4th one didn't work, SpaceX would be dead. But here's the thing about Elon. When most people run from failure, he runs toward it. He studied every mistake. He worked with his engineers. He didn't blame others. He took responsibility. And then, the 4th launch happened. This time, it worked. The rocket flew. It reached orbit. SpaceX became the first private company in history to do what only nations had done before. Suddenly, the world took notice. NASA signed contracts. Investors began to believe, and SpaceX began building something bigger, the Falcon 9. This was a larger rocket, designed for regular satellite launches, and eventually to carry people. But Elon wasn't done. He wanted more than Earth orbit. He wanted Mars. Yes, Mars. Most people thought it was science fiction. Elon saw it as insurance for humanity. In his words, if something happens to Earth, we need a backup plan, a second home. His goal? To make humanity a multi-planetary species. That means people living on more than one planet. That means building a city on Mars. It sounds crazy. It sounds impossible. But remember, so did electric cars. So did reusable rockets. And SpaceX kept pushing. They launched the Dragon capsule, which could carry supplies to the International Space Station. They developed the Starship, a fully reusable next-generation spacecraft designed for deep space missions. They even made rockets land themselves, upright, back on Earth, something that had never been done before. It wasn't smooth. Many rockets crashed during tests. Videos of explosions went viral. But Elon didn't hide the failures. In fact, he celebrated them. He saw each crash as a lesson, a step closer to success. This mindset is rare. Most people avoid risk. Elon embraces it. He knows that to change the world, You have to be willing to fail publicly, to look foolish, to lose money, to be misunderstood. And that's exactly what he did, over and over again. But each time, SpaceX grew stronger, faster, more trusted. Today, SpaceX is one of the most advanced space companies in the world. They launch satellites, they send astronauts. They're building the future of global internet with Starlink. And they're still working toward that big goal, Mars. So what can we learn from this? It's not about rockets, it's about resilience. Elon Musk didn't build a rocket company because it was easy. He built it because it was important, because it mattered to him, because he saw a problem and refused to wait for someone else to fix it. He believed in something that didn't exist yet, and he was willing to risk everything to make it real. That's boldness. That's vision. And that's how the future is built. In the next part of this podcast, we'll switch gears and dive into Tesla. We'll explore how Elon Musk took on the global car industry and why going electric wasn't just a good idea. It was a revolution. Part 3, Electric Dreams and the Tesla Revolution. For most of us, a car is just a way to get from point A to point B. But for Elon Musk, a car was a symbol of something bigger, something broken, and something that could be completely reimagined. Let's rewind for a moment. In the early 2000s, electric cars had a terrible reputation. They were slow, ugly, expensive, and almost nobody wanted to drive one. The big car companies didn't take them seriously. Gas ruled the world, and oil companies liked it that way. But Elon saw a different future, a future where cars were fast, clean, and ran without gas, a future where transportation didn't pollute the planet, a future that didn't depend on fossil fuels. This wasn't just about building a better car. It was about fighting climate change, about protecting the earth, and making sustainability cool. That's when he joined a small startup called Tesla. At the time, Tesla was just a tiny team with a bold idea. They were trying to build an electric sports car, the Tesla Roadster. Most people thought it was a joke, but Elon invested millions. He believed that technology could change everything. He believed people didn't hate electric cars. They just hadn't seen a good one yet. So Tesla got to work. The Roadster launched in 2008, and it shocked the world. It looked amazing. It went from 0 to 60 in just a few seconds, and it ran on pure electricity. Suddenly, electric cars weren't boring anymore. They were exciting. They were fast. They were the future. But success didn't come easy. Tesla faced huge problems. Battery costs were high. Production was difficult. Money was running out. At one point, Elon admitted that Tesla was just weeks away from dying. But like always, he didn't give up. He doubled down. He used his own money. He slept on the factory floor. He worked day and night to save the company. And then, things started to turn around. Tesla launched the Model S, a luxury sedan with amazing range and performance. Then came the Model X, the SUV with futuristic doors. Then the Model 3, the more affordable version that brought electric cars to the mainstream. Each one was a risk. Each one pushed the limits, and each one made Tesla stronger. By the mid-2010s, Tesla wasn't just a car company. It was a movement. People weren't just buying a vehicle. They were buying into a vision of a cleaner world, a smarter world, a world powered by innovation, not pollution. But Elon didn't stop at cars. He expanded into solar energy through Solar City. He launched Tesla Energy, with battery storage systems for homes and businesses. And he kept improving Tesla's autopilot, a system that uses AI to help cars drive themselves. Now let's pause here. What makes this part of Elon's story so powerful is not just the technology, it's the belief behind it. He believed that we don't have to accept the world as it is. We can redesign it. We can make it better, cleaner, faster, smarter, and he was willing to risk everything, his money, his reputation, his health, to make that happen. People doubted him. Car companies laughed at him. He was mocked by the press. But in the end, Tesla changed the game. Now, every major car brand is building electric vehicles. The industry has shifted forever, all because one person dared to say, "What if we did this differently?" So what does this mean for you, the listener? It means your bold ideas matter. It means the world doesn't move forward because of what's safe. It moves forward because of people who challenge what's normal. People like Elon Musk, people who dream big, who take risks, who don't wait. In the next part of this podcast, we'll explore the dark side of boldness, the pressure, the criticism, and the controversy that comes with pushing boundaries. Because while Elon Musk built an empire, he also became one of the most divisive figures in the world. Are you ready for that side of the story? Part 4: Controversy, Critics, and the Weight of Fame. As Elon Musk's companies grew, so did his influence. He wasn't just building rockets and electric cars anymore. He was building a brand, a personal brand. People watched him closely. Everything he said, everything he tweeted, it made headlines. And that's where things started to change. In the early days, Elon was seen as the underdog, the dreamer, the guy who risked it all to change the world. But once he succeeded, once he became a billionaire, a global icon, the story shifted. He wasn't just admired, he was questioned, he was criticized. He became a controversial figure, and in many ways, he made that happen. Elon is bold, not just in business, but in his words. He speaks his mind. He tweets without filters. Sometimes that makes him look brave. Other times, it gets him into trouble. He's joked about serious topics. He's clashed with journalists. He's insulted critics. He's even moved financial markets with a single tweet. Remember the time he tweeted about taking Tesla private at $420 a share? That single message caused chaos in the stock market. The government stepped in. He had to pay fines. He stepped down as chairman of Tesla for a time, but even then, he didn't back down. That's Elon. He doesn't play by traditional rules. He doesn't follow the script. He creates his own. Some people love that. They see him as authentic, fearless, a rebel who refuses to be controlled. Others see it differently. They say he's reckless, irresponsible, too powerful for one man. And here's the truth: both sides might be right, because boldness always has two sides. The same drive that makes someone a visionary can also make them difficult. The same courage to take risks can also lead to mistakes. Elon's story isn't clean. It's not a fairy tale. It's full of highs and lows, admiration and anger. He's been called a genius and a fool, a hero and a villain. He's been praised for saving the planet with Tesla and criticized for treating employees harshly. He's been honored for revolutionizing space travel and mocked for his behavior online. So what do we do with this? How do we understand a man who builds the future and breaks the rules at the same time? Maybe the answer is this: visionaries don't always fit into neat boxes. They're complex, they're intense, and sometimes they make us uncomfortable. Elon Musk is a reminder that changing the world isn't easy. It doesn't come with perfect behavior, it comes with risk, controversy, mistakes, but also with progress. Because despite the criticism, Elon kept building. He built Neuralink, a company exploring brain-computer interfaces. He launched the Boring Company, trying to fix traffic with underground tunnels. He bought Twitter, now X, and tried to reshape how the internet works. Some of these moves were brilliant, others confusing. But again, that's the pattern. He acts, he experiments, he pushes, and he deals with the consequences later. So, what can we learn from this? First, that being bold doesn't mean being perfect. It means standing in the storm, being willing to face criticism, and continuing to move forward. Second, that every leader has flaws. What matters is whether they learn, adapt, and stay focused on what really matters. And for Elon, what matters is building the future. He's not trying to win a popularity contest. He's trying to push humanity forward. In the final part of this podcast, we'll zoom out. We'll ask the big question: what does Elon Musk's story teach us about risk, courage, and shaping the world? Get ready for the final chapter. Part 5. Lessons from Elon. Why the future belongs to the bold. At this point, you've heard the journey, from South Africa to Silicon Valley, from online payments to rockets and robots, from near failure to global impact. But beyond the headlines, beyond the wild stories, what does Elon Musk truly teach us? It all comes down to boldness. Elon didn't wait for permission. He didn't ask someone else to fix the problems he saw. He faced them head on. And when the world said, "That's impossible," he said, "Watch me." Think about it. He didn't invent rockets. He reinvented them. He didn't invent cars. He made electric cars faster, cooler, and more desirable than gas. He didn't invent the internet, but he saw how it could be used to build entire industries from scratch. He looked at old systems, oil, transportation, education, energy, space, and asked a simple question: how can this be better? And then he built it. That's the first lesson. See problems as invitations. Most people see problems and complain. Elon sees problems and builds solutions. The second lesson is about risk. Elon doesn't take safe paths. He bets on ideas that seem crazy. He risks money. He risks reputation. He risks failure, publicly and repeatedly. And that's something we all can learn from. Not that we should all take huge financial risks, but that we must stop letting fear decide for us. Fear of embarrassment, fear of failure, fear of looking stupid. These fears stop people from doing amazing things. Elon faces that fear and moves anyway. The third lesson: don't stop at one success. After PayPal, he could have disappeared. But instead, he asked himself, what else matters? That question changed everything. He didn't stay comfortable. He didn't repeat the same formula. He kept evolving. And finally, the most important lesson: believe in something bigger than yourself. Elon isn't building rockets just for fun. He's not making electric cars just to be different. He's doing it because he believes humanity can do better, that we can dream bigger, live smarter, and survive longer. He believes we need to go to Mars, not because Earth is bad, but because becoming a multi-planet species makes us stronger. He believes in clean energy, not because it's trendy, but because it's necessary. That's why his boldness matters. It's not ego, it's mission. And when you lead with mission, you build movements. That's what Tesla is. That's what SpaceX is. That's what Elon Musk has become, a symbol of relentless vision, stubborn courage, and radical action. But let's be honest, Elon isn't perfect. He makes mistakes. He moves too fast. He speaks without filters. He divides opinions. And that's okay, because changing the world isn't about being perfect. It's about being committed. It's about showing up, even when it's hard, even when people doubt you, even when the odds are against you. So, what about you? What are you waiting to build? What idea have you been sitting on? What fear is stopping you? This podcast wasn't just about Elon. It was about you, the listener, you, the learner, you, the future builder. Because the truth is, boldness doesn't belong to the rich or the famous or the lucky. It belongs to anyone who's willing to try, to anyone who chooses action over excuses, vision over fear, courage over comfort. Elon Musk reminds us that the world doesn't change itself. People change it. Ordinary people with extraordinary drive. That's the future. And it belongs to the bold. Now you know what boldness looks like, what it takes to build something world-changing, and how even the most imperfect people can leave a perfect mark on history. If Elon Musk taught us one thing, it's this: the future belongs to those who try. So keep listening, keep learning, and most importantly, keep dreaming big. Until next time, stay bold, stay fluent, stay unstoppable.